this. I never asked Donnie to come in. Donnie says, I'm ready to come in.
Yes.
Like, I have some stuff to say. Will you make time for me?
Yes.
And I always say, there's always time for you.
Yeah, so we
There's always
collect his
time for this.
$11, and then he gets to come on the air.
Well, I've been working on this one for a while, and I've kind of whittled it down a few times and rewrote it a couple of times to make it like just the things that I want it to be. But there are some of my normal nonsense in here, but then there's a couple of little tiny serious things in here as well. But I'm ready.
Well, let's get to it. Donny Fandango's Week in Rage.
Well, let's begin with an apology from me. All right. This is going out to a guy named Doug. Hey, Doug, I'd like to take a second to apologize to you for all the bad things that I said about you and thought about you on Sunday morning. I should have just been a little bit more patient as free agency was beginning. I think we should stick to the things that we both do well. You as an NHL general manager and me as a stupid alternative rock disc jockey in St. Louis, Missouri. Clearly, sports not my strong suit. See all of my thoughts and opinions on Bud Norris at the beginning of the Cardinal year. So, Doug, you keep doing you, and also thank you. I'm really excited about hockey season again.
Look at you. That takes a big man to apologize.
A couple of things here. Hey, Hubbard. I love being a part of the Hubbard family. I do. I love going over to the new building. I can't wait to work there. I can't wait to work with everybody. But I think we really should all sit down and take a real big thought about the reply all email situation. All right?
Amen.
Before you reply all, I want you to ask yourself two basic questions. 1, is this necessary? 2, is this as funny as I think it is? Chances are, most likely, the answer is no to both, and we can probably hang on, all right? I love everybody's funny, but I think that we could settle it down just a little bit. To the guy that called me a poser for wearing a red Ramones t-shirt, seriously, go screw yourself, all right? It was an $8 Target shirt. It was red, and I like the Ramones. Cost efficient, a color I like, and a band that I love. Maybe one day after you crawl out from your rock of hate, you and I can get together and you can tell me all the ways to be cool. I'll bring a notebook, my man, so I don't miss anything.
Well, you guys
so
can
I'll
listen
know.
to Ramon CDs
We
together.
can. We can sift through. Maybe we'll do some B-sides and some live recordings. You know, the really good stuff. Hey, crazy thing. Mary, if you let off smoke alarms or smoke bombs in the grass, they are going to turn our grass the color of the smoke bomb. And so now, the front of our yard, there are patches that look like Skittles exploded in the yard. And like, as I'm telling Mary this, she's looking at me smiling, lighting them, and then throwing them in the yard. So thank you very much, because that's what you do. You spend all this money on a house, and then you absolutely destroy the yard. So it didn't destroy the yard. And she's going to be mad at me for this because she hates it any time that I mention her. I love you, honey. Have you ever had your kid pull a fire alarm at their school? No? Well, I have, and it's not a lot of fun.
God.
It's not a good time. And I know that it wasn't done on purpose, and the principal to my kid's school is absolutely the kindest man in the entire face of the universe, and holy smokes, as a parent, you just have to come up with different ways to say you're sorry. And I think in that particular conversation, there was probably a good 10, 15 ways in which that I said, oh boy, I'm so sorry. And what's crazy is that little man almost did it when I was picking up my mail at Hubbard the Thursday before. He did it at school. The little angels, always keeping you on your toes and on the brink of sanity. It's fantastic. Hey, also, too, a big shout out to my oldest, Benjamin, who turns 18 years old on Sunday. Hey, Benjamin, 1, happy birthday. Number 2, when you come into the house, before you ask what's for dinner, can you at least say hello? Like, at least just for a second, care that we're all there before you ask what's going on for dinner. My man gets home from work because, you know, working those 5-hour shifts is really super tough. And you come home and you go, hey, Ben, how was the day? What's for dinner? Or just give me a hi, man. Just pretend for a second that you care that I'm there. That's all I'm asking.
18, wow.
18 years old, but happy birthday there, big fella. Now, this is something that's a little bit serious, and I don't think that this makes a lot of sense. So, as somebody that has been through the trials and tribulations of finding a good therapist, finding a good doctor, I don't think a lot of people know, man, that when you go to initially make an appointment somewhere, that you're going to wait probably 2 to 3 months before you can see a shrink or a therapist, and that's me as a guy with insurance and with money to pay a copay and my meds. I think that we have to readdress a system that makes people that are hurting wait 2 to 3 months before they can see somebody. Now, granted, that's not in all situations, that's not all doctors, that's not all therapists. racist. I'm not trying to put a blanket thing over everything. I'm just saying that there are lots of aspects in this area that can be readdressed because it does not make sense. If somebody needs to talk to somebody, they need to get in there and talk to somebody to start whatever kind of healing process or whatever they need to start doing. And even if you start taking a med, it's going to take a month for that med to start working. So you need to factor these kinds of things in. And I know that this is something that doesn't fit for everybody, but I do think that it's serious, and I do think that it's something that needs to be readdressed. Now let's close this thing out with a bang. Last Friday night, I was lucky enough to get hoity-toity seats at the Cardinals game. All right, a little box action. I got some free food. I got some free drinks. So I took my youngest Dexter. It was Dexter's turn. We take turns when I take the kids to the ball game, and in the hustle and bustle of getting him there, and it was 6 billion degrees. I got him set up with the plate. I got myself set up with the plate, and I'm so hungry, like just absolutely starving. And I learned a crazy lesson the other day, that if you don't chew a hot dog all the way and then you attempt to swallow it, you could very much have some issues. So as I'm in this box and the game is just getting ready to start, and I got Dexter all set up with the plate, I, for a good 90 seconds to 2 minutes, thought that I was going to die. All right, so I have this like bit of a hot dog that is like stuck in my throat, enough that I can breathe in a little bit, but there is still something not right. So I think to myself, how am I going to get this thing out? Because I cannot leave my son, hence the fire alarm puller, alone at all for me to run to the bathroom. So I think to myself, the best way to do this, I'm going to try to choke this thing up. I'm just going to try to cough it up just a little bit. Well, that was a really good idea up until the point with what I coughed up was way more than the space that I had in my napkins and in my hands. So this is happening, and I'm trying to hide all of this because I, again, am in a box in the very last row of seats with a glass window legitimately right behind me. So I think to myself, all right, I got it. So as I'm trying to figure out this mess, it happens 2 more times, all right? There is one particular point where there is a string of spit from the side of my mouth to the plate, and I'm thinking to myself, this has got to absolutely, nobody can see this, right? I've got this. I turn around to go in and get more napkins because I thought I'd clean myself up, and legitimately, every single other person in that box was looking at me like I was at this woman when I locked eyes with her when I walked back into that box. I cannot even reproduce the look on her face like, what are you doing here? So I got the napkins, I cleaned myself up, I sat back down in my seat, and I swear to God I didn't move for 3 innings because I didn't want anybody else to see. But again, bottom line here, people, if there's a hot dog, you probably should chew it before you swallow it. Very last thing here, and this one is nuts, all right? Very, very, man, the last Point Fest, we had a great time. I had a great day. It was a lot of fun, man, and after the show was over, we decided that we were all going to go out and have some more drinks and things. So we did, and it was an absolute blast until we're leaving, all right? I'm leaving with a friend of mine. My friend is a female. Friend's a pretty good-looking female. This guy, out of nowhere, walks up to her and thinks that it is okay and acceptable for him to put his hand on her upper thigh. So she moves out of the way so that he can't do that. Then he sees me, and then he starts apologizing to me, not for being an absolute bag of trash that is trying to touch a woman that has not said that that was okay. He says to me, oh, bro, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know she was here with anybody, dude. I didn't know she was here. I wouldn't have done that to some other guy. Not being apologetic for being a goddamn creep. Listen, is this your friend? Is this you? Because I'll tell you something. If this is you or your friend, I hate them. I hate everything about them. I hate their fiber of their frickin' being. If you know your friend is doing this, it's got to stop. You've got to shame them or do whatever it is that you've got to do to keep them from doing this kind of thing. And this is not me on any kind of movement. This isn't on anything other than just being goddamn decent. We have our wives and our girlfriends and our daughters and our moms that are going out. What if they want to look nice? What if they want to wear a short skirt? They shouldn't have to worry about somebody going up and goddamn accosting them. And the worst thing about it, I can see this guy's face in my mind even still. And I'll tell you what, I'm not a fighter, and I'm too old for that, and also I can't fight. But I'll tell you what, the next time that I see that happen, there will be a confrontation, because you're not getting away with that. That kind of thing is completely goddamn unacceptable.
I didn't know you ran into Jeff after Point Fest.
Hey!
Ladies and gentlemen, bottom line, Chew your hot dogs. People suck. That's your weekend rant.
Feel better?
Yeah, man, I gotta do the inhaler.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Can I get a hit?
Of course.